Good afternoon everyone. Today's e-tutorial will be about agreement of subject with verb. But before that, you all need to understand the importance of right usage of verb with its subject. You may have a very good knowledge, but if you cannot communicate that knowledge effectively, your ability to share that knowledge is affected. You all will agree with me that sentence structure and grammar are extremely important in academic writing. If you frame correct sentences, they are easy to understand and at the same time, they also demonstrate your good writing skills. While speaking and writing, it is very important to make right use of verb with subject because incorrect usage of verbs, they confuse readers and listeners. As a general rule, we all know that singular subjects always take singular verbs and plural subjects always take plural verbs. We all know that am is used with I and are is always used with you. But apart from these facts, sometimes there is more than one subject in a sentence and there are many other conditions in a sentence structure that demand its complete understanding for the accurate usage of verb with its subject. So in this e-tutorial, we will learn to determine correct subject-verb agreement. So let us start with the e-tutorial of agreement of subject with verb. The following verbs are considered when we talk of their agreement with subject. There are mainly two types of helping verbs in English grammar. These are principal helping verbs and auxiliary helping verbs. Is, am, are, was, were, has, have, had. They are considered to be principal helping verbs, whereas do, does, did, can, could, may, might, would, should, ought to, must, dare, need. These are all auxiliary verbs. For subject-verb agreement, only principal helping verbs, they are put under consideration, and only two auxiliary verbs, these are do and does, they are considered for their agreement with the subject. One more thing I would like to tell you that verbs are never singular and plural. It is just for our understanding of their accurate usage, we just call them singular verbs and plural verbs. For an example, first form of the verb with s or es, does, is, am, has and was. These are called singular verbs because they are used with singular subjects. Similarly, first form of the verb without s or es, do, are, have, were, these are plural verbs because they are used with plural subject. See the first rule of agreement of subject with verb, that is a verb must agree with its subject in number in present indefinite tense. This rule is considered to be the foundation of English grammar. You see, in present indefinite tense, when the subject is singular, we always use first form of the verb with s or es, and when the subject is plural, we never use s or es with first form of the verb. In interrogative sentences, we always use does when the subject is singular, and we use does with first form of the verb, and if the subject is plural, we use do with first form of the verb. In negative sentences, if the subject is singular, we use does not with first form of the verb. And if the subject is plural, we use do with first form of the verb. Rule 2. A verb must agree with its subject in number. The fact and the thing which I have already shared with you, that singular subjects, they always agree with singular verbs, and plural subjects, they always agree with plural verbs. So it is very much clear that with he, she, it and all other singular nouns and pronouns and subjects, we always use singular verbs like is, was and has. And with we, they and any other plural nouns and pronouns, we always use are, were and have. With I, we always use am, and with you, we always use have. Rule number 3. When two singular nouns are joined by and, they always require plural verb. For an example, gold and silver are precious metals. Now these two nouns, gold and silver, they have been joined by and, so both are different nouns. So they agree with the plural verb, that is are. He and I were playing. As a general rule, we know that we always use was with I, but here were has been used because I and he, these two pronouns, they have been joined by and. So both become plural. So we have used plural verb were. Rule number 4. When two singular nouns are joined by and they represent one idea, always requires singular subject. This is very much closely associated with the rule number 4, but with the difference that two things they have been referred here, time and tide, but these two things they refer to the same thing, same object, and they signify the same idea. Curry and rice is his favorite food. Slow and steady wins the race. So these pair of words, they signify the one idea, so they always agree with singular verb. If there are two or more than two subjects in a sentence and the use of article is just before one subject, then that sentence refers to only one person or one object. But on the contrary, if each subject has an article, then that sentence refers to different persons and different objects. This can be explained with the help of an example. A white and black gown was bought by her. You see, in this sentence there are two subjects, white and black, but article a, which is an indefinite article, it has been used just before white. It means that this sentence refers to only one object, that is one gown. So it agrees with singular verb was. Let us take another example. The poet and the philosopher are dead. We have used here plural verb are because there are two subjects, poet and philosopher, and both these subjects they have articles, that is a definite article the. It means this sentence refers to two different persons. But if I had omitted the before the philosopher, the sentence would say the poet and philosopher is dead. Then it meant that this would have referred to only one person. So since there are different two articles used before two subjects, it means that these are two different persons, and the sentence and the two subjects they agree with plural verb. Singular subjects joined by as well as and with, they always use singular verbs. For an example, the man with his gun has been caught. Now there are two subjects in this sentence, the man and gun. They have been joined by one word, that is with, but it always agrees when two singular subjects are joined by with and as well as, they always agree with singular verb, that is I have used here has. And in the next sentence, Ram and his friend, these are both singular subjects and they are joined by as well as, so this sentence agrees with is, that is singular verb. But one more thing is to be kept in mind while using as well as and with. If the subjects joined by these words, they differ in number. I mean that if the two subjects they differ in number, one subject is singular, another subject is plural, in that case the verb always agrees with the first subject. Now look at the example, Ram as well as his parents is coming. You see, it is very awkward to use is here because we can see that the nearest subject is plural. Then why we are using is here? It is because when these two subjects, one is singular, another plural, they have been joined by as well as a rule of grammar, verb always agrees with the first subject, whether this is singular or plural. We make use of the verb according to its nature. Now next, see, my parents as well as I were ruined. Similarly, we never use was with I, but here were, it has not been used with I, it has been used with my parents because this is plural subject, and when two subjects joined by as well as, verb always agrees with the first subject. According to rule number 7, when two subjects are joined by the words like, along with, together with, and not, in addition to, but, besides, except, rather than, accompanied by, like, unlike, no less than, nothing but, that verb always agrees with the first subject. The usage of these words is very much like the usage of as well as, which we have recently learned in rule number 6. When two singular subjects, they are joined by as well as, then verb used is always singular. But when two subjects, they differ in number, then verb always agrees with the first subject. You will find the same condition here. Look at the example. The captain along with the sailors was drowned. Now here the verb was, which is singular, has been used for the first subject, that is captain. You see the third example. Mother accompanied by her children is coming. Now is has been used for the first subject, that is mother. Now the nearest subject to the verb is children, which is plural, but we have not used are here. We have used is because according to the rule, when these words have been used, we have to use verb according to the first subject. Rule number 8. The subjects like each, someone, either, anyone, neither, nobody, one, somebody, no one, anybody, everyone, everybody, and many a, they always take singular verbs. So whenever you use these words in a sentence, they are always followed by a singular verb. For an example, someone in the game was hurt. Neither of the men is working. Either of these novels is worth reading. Each of these substances is present. Many a man has come. You see that in all these sentences, wherever these particular subjects have been used, I have used singular verbs. Rule number 9, which is closely associated with rule number 8. Subjects, when they are joined by or and another word nor, they take a verb that agrees with the last subject. It generally happens in the case where we use neither nor, either or. You just look at the example. Either he or I am mistaken. Now see, I have used the verb am because when these two subjects, he and I, they are joined by or, in that case verb agrees with the subject nearest to it. So n has been used for I here, which is quite nearest to it. Now see another example for the better understanding. Neither he nor his friends have attended the class. You see that I have used the plural verb here because it is agreeing with the nearest subject, which is plural in nature. This very rule is contrary to the rule of as well as. In the sentences where we use as well as, verb always agrees with the first subject, but the sentences where subjects are joined by or and nor, their verb always agrees with the subject nearest to it. Rule number 10. None, thou singular in nature, but it generally agrees with plural verbs. But as a general rule, none can be used with both singular or plural verbs. But it depends upon the nature of the sentence. Did you buy any mangoes? There were none in the market. So here none has been used in the capacity of plural verbs because the subject mangoes are here plural. None of the boys have done their work. Similarly, boys are plural, so none has been used in the capacity of plural subject. Have you brought me a letter? There was none for you. So here none, it is accompanied by a singular verb because it is referring to a single object, that is a letter. Similarly, the words like some, any, all, most, they may take both singular or plural verbs. It depends upon their usage. For an example, most of the news is good. So here news is a singular subject, so it is accompanied by singular verb, that is. Next example, most of the flowers were yellow. Here the subject flowers, it is plural, so it is accompanied by plural verb. Rule number 12. Here and there are never subjects. In such sentences, the subject is usually found later on in the sentence. For an example, you can see there were 5 books on the shelf. In this sentence, there is not a subject, but the subject is books. Since books is plural subject, so it agrees with the plural verb, that is were. Similarly, here is the report you wanted. Here the singular verb is, it has been used with singular subject, that is report. So it is not used for here, it has been used for report. Rule number 13. There are certain nouns which are plural in form, but actually they are singular in their meaning. Such nouns, they take singular verb and they always agree with singular verb. For an example, you can see mathematics is an easy subject for some people. So the words like mathematics, politics, the news, physics, social studies, economics, these all words, they are plural in their form, but actually their meaning is singular. So such words, they always agree with singular verb. Rule number 14. Expressions of time, money, measurement and weight, they are usually singular, but when they are considered as one unit. And in such case, when they are considered as one unit and one mass, they always agree with singular verb. For an example, you can see that $5 is not a big amount. Now the amount, that is a $5, it has been taken as one unit. So when it is taken as one unit, it is always accompanied by singular verb. Another example is 10 years is a big period of time. 10 years is one unit of time, so it is accompanied by singular verb. Similarly, 20 miles is not a big distance. 20 miles has been taken as one unit, as one mass, so it is agreeing with singular verb. Rule number 15. You see that collective nouns, they may use both singular or plural verbs, but it depends upon their use in a sentence. When a collective noun is taken as a whole, then it always agrees with singular verb, but if collective noun, they refer to its different members and all the persons individually, it always agrees with plural verbs. So for an example, the committee has issued a notice. In this sentence, the committee is a collective noun and it means that the whole committee has issued a notice. So this collective noun has been taken as a whole, which agrees with singular verb, that is has. So committee has been considered as a whole, so it is agreeing with singular subject has. In the next sentence, you see the committee were divided on a minor point. So here this particular sentence is referring to the different members of the committee who were divided on a minor point. So in this sentence, the committee, it is agreeing with plural verb. Let us take one more example. The jury gave its verdict. The jury means that the whole panel gave the judgment, gave its verdict. But in the next sentence, you see, the jury are divided in their opinion. It means that the members of the jury, so in this sentence, all the members, they have been referred to individually or separately. So this sentence, it agrees, and this collective noun, it agrees with plural verb here. Rule number 16. The number of the subject, whether this is singular or plural, is not changed by words that come between subject and the verb. It means that, you just see the example, one of the eggs is broken. So one of the eggs is broken. In this sentence, of the eggs is just a prepositional phrase. So it is referring, in this sentence, it is referring to one egg only, so it is accompanied by singular verb. So all the expressions referring to one of the, they are always accompanied by singular verb. Rule number 17. When plural noun is the proper name of some object or some collective unit, it is always followed by singular verb. Means that plural noun, if it is proper name of something, like the Arabian Nights is a name of the book. You see that Arabian Nights. Nights word is plural in form, but the Arabian Night itself is a complete unit. This is name of the book and this is one book. So one object, the Arabian Nights, it agrees with singular verb. Similarly, United States, this is one unit. So United States has big navy. Similarly, Gulliver's Travels. Now Gulliver's Travels is a name of a book and it was written by Swift. So though the word travels, it is plural in form, but it is referring to one single object. This is name of a complete book. This is proper noun, so it is accompanied by singular verb. There is a list of some nouns which look like singular but actually they are plural. These are irregular nouns and they take plural verb with them. For example, men, children, feet, teeth, mice, people. These are all plural nouns and they always agree with plural verb. I have seen many students using children's and people's. It is never children's, it is never people's. They are already in their plural form. So we have to accept them as it is and we should use plural verbs with them, like children are, children were, children have. Similarly, people are, people were, people have. There is a list of irregular nouns that do not change even when they are made plural, and verb is used according to their number in a sentence. For example, a sheep is grazing in the field, and in plural form we will say 5 sheep were grazing in the field. It would be wrong to say 5 sheep were. 5 means more than one sheep, so we have used plural verb with it. 5 sheep were grazing in the field. The same condition applies with the rest of the words. Words like cattle, infantry, poultry, peasantry, gentry, police, they are always used in their plural form and they always agree with plural verb. It would be wrong to say cattle are grazing. The right sentence is cattle are grazing. It would be wrong to say our infantry have. The right sentence is our infantry have. It would be wrong to say police has. The right sentence is police have. So whenever we use these words, we have to take plural verb with them. There are certain fictional sentences which start with words like if, as thou, suppose, I wish, in case, or would that. Such sentences always take verb as a verb. These sentences are not based on any reality or a fact, rather they are based on our imagination or the things we want to be. For example, would that I were a king. I am not actually a king, but I strongly desire to be a king. I wish I were a bird. I am not a bird, but I strongly desire to be a bird. If he were rich, he would help others. She talks as if she were mad. She is actually not mad, but she is assumed to be mad. So again repeating, the sentences which are based on our imagination or assumption always take were as a verb irrespective of any subject. Now it is followed by the practice test. I have made these sentences for you. What you have to do, you have to choose correct form of the verb from these sentences. I hope that now you would be able to make the right and accurate choice of the verbs in order to make a sentence. I have a hope that you would have been able to understand the importance as well as the right use of verb with their subject. These rules are not too hard to be understood. All that you need to do is to do more practice and study these rules. With these words, I wish you the best. Stay home, stay safe.